Right guys, welcome back. Just to recap on the car as to what we're doing. As you know, we've pulled the car out of hibernation and we're going to build this thing into a obnoxious street car. We want this thing to be the quickest car in the area. We're going to ship it across the pond next year to Drag Week in America and see if we can run an 850 on leaf springs, blown big block and an 11-inch slick. Right, so today we've jumped in the truck and we're off to a company called Cirque Motorsport to meet a friend of ours, Alex, who's going to sort us out with a set of Hoosier slicks. Race car stuff. This is going to get expensive. It's going to spend some money that we don't have. Right, so not only are we going to pick up some tyres today, but we've had a super long parts list. So Alex is going to run us through what he's got in stock and see what else he can help us out with.
Excited?
A bit nervous. You know, what do you do? It's got to be done.
So Autometer purchased Stack a few years ago. So again, for on the digital dash sides of things, Stack's got a pretty good offering, and Autometer from that is opening their range of offering on the digital dash side. Yeah. Some guys prefer to have a gauge. They know where that needle's going to be, and that's what they need to see out of the corner of their eye.
I'm a big fan of, I've run Autometer for years, 20 years, 25 years, but yeah, I'm not a digital guy. Like you said, just a quick glance, you know where that needle needs to be.
Yeah.
You're
not trying to read numbers. Right, so the idea is that this is remotely mounted in your engine bay area.
Yep.
You've got it hooked up with your oil. After your run, you can come on in. There's an air chuck here. Take that off, hit it with about 2 seconds of compressed air. This will be filled with oil. So when you put the air in, it'll displace any of the oil out of the window.
Okay.
And then you can see in the filter if there's any early warning signs of concern. And then if you see something that you don't like, you've got 4 bolts here. You can pull this cover off. You can remove the filter, have a good look at it. Everything looks okay. You can hit it with some brake clean, put it back in, tighten the bolts back up, and away you go. Yeah. So it's just more of an insurance policy for you to have any early warning signs of something's getting ready to let go. And then you can save that before it goes catastrophic. All different types of mesh for the filter itself. So depending on perhaps the weight of the oil that you're running, we'll size the screen appropriately to make sure that you've got adequate flow.
Yeah.
29 by 11s. So we wanted to max. We wanted to get as much tyre as we possibly can because our class is no bigger than 11.5, so that's an 11. So, because a lot of the other ones measured up at 9.5, 10.6. So, just have to try and squeeze the buggers under there now. But they're killer, dude. Look at the size of them.
They are huge, aren't they?
So we're going to head back to the shop, grab the rims, head over to Chris's house. He's going to mount the tyres for us, stick them underneath the car, cut the wheel tubs out, and make a new tub to suit the new slick. So while we were picking up our slicks, Chris has just called us and said that he has a friend that's liquidating all his farm machinery. So we're going to head up there tomorrow. He said everything's really cheap. He's got tractors, excavators, bobcats, old cars, motorcycles. So we're going to grab the trucks and trailers tomorrow and head up, and it sounds like a bit of a honey hole, so I'm sure we'll buy a few things.
Do you think they'll fit underneath the arch?
I think they'll fit, but we'll have to do some cutting. What we're going to do is, because obviously the factory wheel tub is is quite rounded over the shoulder. So what we're going to do is what they call square shoulder tubbing. We're going to cut the wheel tub in half, make our own new wheel tub, and we're going to put a square shoulder on it. Because they're an 11-inch wide slick, and they I think the bulge is 12 and a half inches, so we've already modified the chassis rail, but yeah, I can see us pulling all those tubs out, and fingers crossed they fit. We don't really want to have to cut and move the chassis, but if we got to, then that's what we've got to do. So we've just popped round to my mate Chris's place. You've seen Chris in a few previous episodes. We do a lot together, you know, buying and selling cars and modifying cars. He wasn't happy about this at all. He saw these tyres, he thinks I've gone completely mad. He reckons they won't fit, he reckons we ruined the car, and he doesn't even think these things are going to hold air. So let's prove him wrong. I'm sure he'll change his tune once we take him for a blast in this car once it's done. Let's see if we can get him to shit his pants. So these tyres were incredible. You know, we kind of figured that we'd struggle mounting these. Super soft, very easy to work with. You know, literally took us 10 minutes to throw these tyres on and pump them up. Really, really happy with the outcome. Right, so tyres are all done, tyres are holding air. Let's take them back to the shop and see if we can squeeze them under the back of this bad boy. So now we're going to attempt to cut these wheel tubs out. The problem was it's still got all the factory undersealer and everything on, you know, on the tubs on the top side and on the bottom side. So Jim's fired up the torch. We're going to try and burn through some of this sticky muck to try and remove it before we get the plasma torch out and start hacking into these wheel tubs. We try and make it easy for ourselves, Jim, and leave that panel in. You know,
you've got to take that out, whatever, haven't you?
Well, only this, but we could do that in the car. I mean, the only other thing you could do is just this off, cut it out, get rid of it, and put a new piece in once the tub's done. We could just cut this out with a grinder, couldn't we?
You've only got to put a piece of sheet, as long as you roll some beads into it to stop it from flexing.
Right, so we've just fired up the plasma torch. We're going to attempt to cut these tubs out. We're kind of hoping to cut these out in one piece, but there's so many other obstacles in the way, so we just kind of cut it out bit by bit. But this made life so easy and so, you know, neat and tidy and easy to clean up. So this is ride height. So my thoughts are 2-inch block, Jim. I'll tell you how we can do this. Right, so we probably could have bought a set of wheel tubs and made life easy for ourselves, but we decided to have a crack at it on our own and build our own tubs. So we took some measurements, obviously, of the original tubs. They needed to be cosmetically right as well, so we had to modify them a little bit. So plasma torch out, drew some lines out, cut the plates out. We're going to throw the sheet metal through the bead roller, you know, just put some lines in it just to strengthen up the tubs. A lot more work than we first anticipated. We kind of figured we'd get a set of tubs done the weekend, but in all fairness, the first tub's taken us about 4 days to get it right. So now we've got the end plates cut out. We're going to throw this thing through the bead roller and put some strength in it. Anyone that's used one of these knows that they're not the easiest things in the world to use. This is just a cheap mechanical one that we've picked up. It's not pneumatic or anything, but we kind of figured as long as you throw a fair bit of WD on it just to lubricate it and make things slide easy. And as they say, slow and steady wins the race. Really happy with the outcome. We kind of figured that we'd go through a couple of pieces of sheet first to get it right, but we got it done the first time.
I don't think it needs any more.
Bad for a couple of amateurs, I reckon. Not bad at all. Run through the guts. Quite happy with that for what? An hour's worth of work, hour and a half's worth of work. Right, so once we've got the tub kind of sitting where we need it to be, we didn't just want to weld the tub directly into the car. So we decided to fold up some angle out of some sheet metal and shrink and stretch, just some sort of finishing pieces around the outside. So we've got our little joggling tool out here which punches holes in the material. Once we've got all this fitted in place, we can just plug weld through those holes straight to the body of the car and also to the tub. So not bad for a couple of hacks. I think it turned out pretty good, to be quite fair.
Wheel Tub City, bitches.
So I can come around and wheel that one, can't I? Right, so now we've got one tub almost complete. We just need to roll another piece of angle to fit on the inside of the car. We want another little return edge on the inside of the wheel tub to the body. And then it's on to the next one. So the rear end's pretty much getting there. We just got to throw a set of gears in it. We've got to modify our wheels because the offset isn't right. So on the next episode, we're going to cut the centers out of those wheels and modify them so we have a 2-inch backspace. So that's going to be an interesting episode, that one. I'm sure most people will cringe that we're modifying wheels, but it's just metal at the end of the day. So we'll make our jig up on the table, shove the wheel centers over, flip the barrels round and weld them back up and see how we get on.